Alright guys, what's up? So I'm gonna talk about a crash that I had while I was riding my dirt bike. And I have one crash and one funny incident. The crash happened, it was a while ago. I was riding the MR250 that I mentioned in my other video, and we were riding up a trail, and the part that we were on was an easy trail. It was just like it was a wide open area up a mountain, and it kind of plateaus out, and so we stopped there, talked about where we're gonna go, and so we continued on the same trail, but there was a trail that same trail went off to the left, and there was a trail that was, or it went off to the right, and there was a trail straight ahead it was basically like a shortcut. It just went straight up the mountain rather than kind of around it. And we had went up there earlier that day, and I went up the straight trail. And so I was thinking, okay, I did it before, might as well do it again. It was pretty fun. And so I go up it, and it's probably at about like a 40 degree angle. It's really steep. And so it has just the first part, which is flat and just goes straight up, and then it has another part where it's like a big lump. And I mean, it's a pretty good sized lump coming out. And so this time I go up, I hit that, and my front tire comes up, and so I pull in the clutch and I lean forward to put it back down, and when I get back down I have no momentum to keep going up the hill. And so at this point I'm like, alright, I'm kind of screwed trying to go up, so I guess I have to try and turn around and go back down and go up the other way, or make another attempt at it. But I feel my tire's sliding, and my back tire drops off of the lump, and my bike leans over to the left, and I fall down, and I tumbled down the hill. I hit my head, and then it kind of pops me up, and I land back on the ground, and then I slide from there. And so I'm sitting there. I have the wind knocked out of me from hitting the ground. I hit my head, so my head is kind of shaken up from that. I hurt something in my hand. My fingers were trembling, and my hand kind of hurt. And then I scraped up my right shoulder blade, and my left elbow had a cut on it and was bleeding. And then my right shin, just below my kneecap on the inside of my shin, was swollen. And so I'm sitting there waiting for my dad and my cousin and his dad, who we were riding with, to realize that I'm not behind them, I'm not with them. And so I'm sitting there just dealing with the pain, waiting for them to come back. And at this time I'm thinking, shit, I hope I didn't screw up the new paint job that my dad just got on the bike. And so my dad comes back, and I was just worried about that. And there were it looked like some parts of a broken headlight or something that were also on the trail. And so I was hoping that that wasn't from the bike as well. And so we go and we pick up the bike, and there's nothing on it. There's nothing wrong with it. And I was so happy about that, because I felt terrible. And there were a couple smudges from my riding pants, I guess, where the bike kind of fell onto me, and the pressure from pushing onto my leg, it just made a couple smudges, but those wiped right off. And so I felt good after realizing that it didn't hurt the bike at all. And then the next time, this was a little after that, we were at a different place dirt biking this time, but there was a little area that went off of the roads in there that it was kind of flat in the middle, and then it had a little bit of a raise, and then you pick which trailhead you wanted to start on. And it had been raining a bit before, and so it was kind of full with water. And I mean, it was pretty large spread out, but it didn't look very deep. So being on dirt bikes, I don't really care if I get a little wet or a little muddy. So I decided that I was gonna go through the little, I guess I'll just call it a pond. I decided to go through it. And so I chose an area that it wasn't straight. I didn't go straight through the middle. I chose a little area that was kind of off to the side. But I get about halfway through it, and the bike just stops. And I kind of lunge forward, and I almost get thrown over the handlebars. And so the bike floods and dies. And the mud under the water just held everything in. My dad had to climb in with me and help me pull it out, and it just wanted to hold our boots in there. So a couple times you'd start to try and step again, and you would start to pull your foot out of your boot, even with it completely strapped and everything. And it was just bad. The bike was so muddy, and our boots were soaking wet, full of mud, and my gloves were soaking wet, completely muddy. And looking back at it now, it was funny, but I mean, in that moment, it was frustrating as all hell. And my dad had to ride back to the truck and grab a tie down and tow my bike back to the truck so we can load it up and take it home. And so I got to go home and pressure wash it down, get all the mud off of it that had dried on there. And like I said, looking back at it now, it was funny, and I'll never do that again, because I've done something like that before when I was younger on the little XR70, where I decided to go through a puddle, and it turns out to be really deep. And luckily that time on the 70, I didn't get trapped. But yeah, those are just a couple stories I wanted to share while I'm out on my ride. Oh, I guess I gotta talk about, I see a lot of people on YouTube, you guys shift with only 2 fingers. And I mean, I can do that. I don't like it because it pulls it into my knuckle, the knuckle of my ring finger, and it's just annoying. So I mean, I usually, this lever is actually broken, so it's a little shorter. The ball's broken off at the end. But I mean, I usually use either 3 or my whole hand. Like if I use 3, I still have my pinky up there, but it's not really grabbing at anything. It's just kind of there. But I mean, I see a lot of you guys on YouTube that only use 2 fingers. And I guess I had the question of, does it hit your fingers? Or do you have it set so you don't have to pull it in too far for it to actually engage the clutch to shift? And I don't know why, but I like to keep 1 finger on there. Even if I'm on the freeway usually, and I won't really need the clutch, I still keep that finger on there. I don't really like grabbing the handlebars completely.
So I'll go ahead and show you. I have a picture of the bike, and I have some of the pictures of the injuries that I got from the crash. So I'll put those up. And thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe. And I'll have more out soon. Thanks.